Great news, folks. We now know what the Fed is afraid of. Thanks to Chris Waller from the Fed. He's clearly articulated what we are afraid of. We will get to that in a minute, because first I want to give a special shout out to Jason Walter. Folks, if you don't know who Jason is a fellow YouTuber. He is out of Sacramento, and he had me on his channel last week to talk about the broken housing market. We talked about how the Fed broke housing. Jason, thank you very much for that conversation. I do think I owe the audience, at least the folks that may be new from Jason's channel, kind of a breakdown of one of the misconceptions the crash bros and doomers have. If you go to Jason Walter's channel and look up our video that happened in the last 4 or 5 days, there are lots and lots of comments that basically say, Michael's an idiot, demand is falling, prices will fall next. To which you and I know, because we don't have doomers on this show, we know things called price elasticity. We know that my call is for housing not to rip, but to be flat and sideways. But we also have what I call the 53, now 54-year spreadsheet. The 54-year spreadsheet is so valuable because it gives you 54 years of history. Housing, stocks, GDP, unemployment, affordability, and so much more. There are 20 to 25 unique metrics with 54 years of data. Not only is that spreadsheet valuable, but it is also sourced. So if you go to the tab, you can click on any of the links and build your own spreadsheet. This data is not mine. It is sourced from things like the St. Louis Fed, from NAR, and many, many other places. But I know it is too much trouble for the doomers to read. I know it is too much trouble for you to look into the history books and understand how price elasticity in housing is a real thing. The argument goes, demand falls, prices must fall. Well, to which I ask you, please look up 1978. In 1978, we did 4 million existing home sales. Now, I'm going to round. If you pull up the spreadsheet, you will know we went out pretty far on the decimal scale. But for this exercise, we are going to round. We are going to march from 1978 to 1996. For those of you counting at home, that is 18 years. Again, the argument from the doomers and crash bros is demand falls, prices must fall. So again, in 1978, we did 4 million. 1979, we did 3.8. 1980, we did 3 million. 1981, we did 2.4 million. 1982, we actually did less than 2 million. So in the span of roughly 6 years, demand fell 50%. 50%. But we're not done yet. 1983, we did 2.7. 1984, we did 2.9. These are all in millions. 85, we did 3.2. 86, 3.6. 87, 3.5 million. 88, 3.6. Folks, we're 11 years in. We are not back to the 4 million. Demand is below 1978. For anybody keeping up, GDP is growing, population is growing, but yet demand is below 1978. It's not over. 1989, we did 3.3. 1990, we did 3.2. 1991, we did 3.1. We are going the other direction. We are falling once again. 1992, we did 3.4. 93, we did 3.8. 94, 3.9. 95, 3.9. And finally, in 1996, after 18 years of falling demand, we did 4.2 million, finally breaking the 1978 record. Now, according to the crash bros and doomers who don't understand housing, when you have demand down, prices should fall. Well, from 1978 to 1996, we had one negative home price year, and that was down less than 1%. But it was negative. If you want to look at a home price and median home price in 1978, you'll get $56,000. Again, we are rounding for simplicity. In 1996, it was 139K. So folks, more than 100% jump. So in housing, falling demand does not equal falling prices. However, unaffordability does drive lower transactions. Again, I remind you, from 1978 to 1982, we did 50% less transactions. We went from just about 4 million to under 2 million. Housing is not like other things. It doesn't have a simple demand and supply curve. It is called price elasticity. There are switching costs. There are other options. Shelter is one of those fixed things that you need, right? Water, food, shelter. I feel bad for the Crash Bros followers who have been listening to nonsense for 4 or 5 years and not understanding that they are being guided by a renter. They are being guided by failed mortgage brokers. They are being guided by fake agents. Folks, housing is different. We have an affordability challenge today, no doubt. I am hoping that new builds, as we hopefully build out of this depression in the real estate industry, build smaller. There are ways to get out of this. Unfortunately, the answer to get out of this is the same that I gave you 18 months ago. It is going to take time. It is going to take years. Also, one more time for the folks that don't understand, you don't divide home price by income. That is Pretty Chart Boy's favorite metric to throw around. That is complete nonsense. The only way that price divided by income makes any sense is if you and I paid cash for our housing. Price, income, and rate equals affordability. Folks, take any point in time, slap a 25% interest rate on said price, homes are unaffordable. Take any point in time and slap a 0% interest rate, homes are affordable. Don't let Pretty Chart Boy confuse you with fancy pretty charts about price and income. That's not how housing works. It's price, income, and rate. All right, I will get off my soapbox. I want to shout out Jason Walter for that awesome conversation about how the Fed broke housing. You do have a lot of folks, Jason, in your comments who are very upset with Mr. Zuber. Many of them calling me clown, many of them saying nasty things. I guess they're upset. All right, folks, now let's talk about Fred Waller and why he has finally told us what the Fed is afraid of. Chris Waller on Friday basically came out and said, hey, we've done the back of the napkin calculations on PCE. We are seeing PCE on an annualized basis, 4 months running, below 2%. They've also talked about ad nauseum how shelter should be rolling over quite quickly in the next 4 to 5 months. So if you were looking at that, and then this comment, this is the key. The committee sees a lot of room to move down over the next 6 to 12 months. I don't know about you folks, but giving that, I have to suspect another 50 basis point cut right after the election is on the table. We're going to talk more about that in a minute, but yes, it definitely sets up the fact that the Fed is going to get aggressive. The Fed is afraid of deflation. I said it. The Fed is looking finally out the windshield and not the rear view mirror, and they are seeing deflation. That is what the Fed is afraid of. So again, we need to understand that the Fed has started their rate cutting cycle. They have started an aggressive approach. And also, I want to give a shout out to Danielle DiMartino Booth. Danielle DiMartino Booth has been on the channel one time. She is someone I follow. She is someone that I believe has an innate insight into the Fed. She did serve as a resource to the Dallas Fed. She wrote an amazing book. I think it's called Fed Up or something like that. I forget the title. I should look that up. But she wrote a great book on the Fed. She's basically saying Jerome Powell just had a Paul Voker moment. I got to tell you, the first time I saw that quote, I thought it was fake news. Why? Because if you don't know, Paul Voker was the guy that took rates up, not down. But listening more and more to Danielle DiMartino Booth explain herself, which she's done a lot on this topic, she is basically saying Paul Voker was the last independent Fed chair that wasn't yanked around by Wall Street. Interesting. Now tell me why you believe that, Miss Danielle DiMartino Booth. So basically what she is saying is every Fed president since Paul Voker has followed one script. If Wall Street or the smart money going into a Fed meeting has a call that is 80% or greater, it is your job to deliver. So what does that mean? Think about last meeting, going into the July camp. It was basically known by the street that there would be no cut. So anything other than the July meeting being a no cut would have surprised the market. Okay, fast forward to this month, September. Going into the meeting, the smart money was saying that that they would raise, but by a quarter. Of course, Jerome Powell raised by a 50. So why is that a Paul Voker moment? Well, according to her, it's because he didn't kowtow. He didn't bend the knee to Wall Street. Her point on that also is, can you imagine how much money Wall Street lost because they were mispositioned? That is an interesting point. That is a very interesting point, because if you go back to Paul Voker to today, that's probably 40 years. For 40 years, Wall Street has worked a model where they pushed, prodded, yanked the Fed to their decision and likely made millions. Well, according to her, Jerome Powell just gave him the middle finger and said, I'm going to surprise you. And if the market is the clearing function it is, that means they were set up wrong and lost money. So I think she's right. I think Jerome Powell did something the market didn't expect. I will also admit, I think it's a little early to say it was a Paul Voker moment. And now maybe that's just because Paul Voker raised and Jerome Powell lowered. I don't know. Maybe it's just a natural bias I have. But that does feel a little reaching. But I don't think it's unreasonable to say, you know what? Good for him. Good for him. Jerome Powell and team did what they thought was right for the economy and said, F you to Wall Street. I'm down for that. That's cool. I acknowledge that. So that will be a lot of fun. Folks, I don't know if you've noticed, if you are a part of school, you have 3 opportunities to interact with millionaires in the next 26 hours. Of course, you will have Simon from The Uneducated Economist in about 16 minutes. You will actually have the surprise opportunity to interact with Dan Bird at 10 today. It is already in the calendar. Bring your stocks, bring your mutual funds, talk gold, talk crypto, whatever you want to do. Dan Bird and I will be there for it. We want to make sure we give you some stock cover. And then on Monday, I have finally locked down Taylor from Life Goal Investments, a 10-year Wall Street veteran who you can talk to and ask questions about the street, about anything you would like, but we will be going live 8 a.m. Monday. Also, folks, I don't know if you saw it, if you are a part of school, but we have just announced our 3rd accountability group. Folks, there's a team that is kicking off an accountability group Monday mornings. No better way to start your week with an accountability group. We now have one on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. I do not recommend you join all three. Find the one that fits your schedule and join that one. Meet the team, help each other move forward. We are trying to change the world of real estate investing. I want to be the number one real estate investing school on school. Today, we are number 4. I think I need about another 50 students and a lot more comments and likes and all of that. And we will without question be the number one real estate investing school on the platform. We are about 300 spots away from number 1. We are number 4 in real estate investing. I'm going to keep giving value. We have 3 accountability groups, free courses, boot camps. Everything is there for you. Join today. It's stupid priced at $20 a month. I don't know why you haven't joined yet. Join today, join today, join today. All right, lastly, let's talk about the week ahead. We got a lot of Fed speeches next week, right? They're out of their blackout period. They are going to be in front of microphones. We are going to have to pay attention. Will they validate what Chris Waller said, that they are scared of deflation? We shall see. It starts Monday, hot and heavy. We have at least three Fed speeches. We will also get S&P flash services and manufacturing. Are they growing or contracting? Tuesday, we will get Case-Shiller, consumer confidence, and a Fed speech. Wednesday, we will find about new home sales and a Fed speech. Thursday, we will get weekly unemployment claims, GDP for Q2, pending home sales, and 7 Fed speeches, at least 7 Fed speeches. Friday, we will get the most important number of the week. That is PCE. Of course, this is the one that Chris Waller says is going to be annualized sub 2%. The wealth building journey. Remember to promote ORaaT Vegas meetup. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we are having a Vegas meetup February 15th and 16th. I am actively working on the schedule right now. I'm going to surprise you with some names. We're going to bring back some old faces. It is going to be an amazing event full of inspiration, Q&A, networking. I'm feeding everybody, so I'm spending even more money this time. I'm feeding VIP, feeding general admission, 6 hours of networking. It is going to be the most positive, encouraging, Q&A. Come with your spouse. Come with your significant other. You will not want to miss it. Last year was amazing. This year is even better. Learn some things I got to do. Name badges. Got to bring name badges. And so many other things. So yes, thank you for that. ORaaT Vegas meetup. It's not want to be missed. And then on Friday, besides PCE, we get consumer sentiment and at least one Fed speech. Couple other things I noted. Nike CEO is out. He was replaced with a new CEO, Elliott Hill. Fun thing about Elliott Hill, he started at Nike as an intern in 1988. I don't know about you folks, but I would love to see his book. Can you imagine staying at one company? What is that? Almost 30 years, 25, 26 years, start as an intern and then become the CEO. I want to read that book. As somebody who was an employee and always dreamed of climbing the corporate ladder, I cannot imagine a better story of starting as an intern in 1988 and becoming the CEO in 2024. Shout out Elliott Hill for doing it right. Also should talk about FedEx. FedEx had a nasty miss. Missed top line, missed bottom line, missed revenue, missed earnings, lowered guidance. They talked about domestic industrial shipments. They talked about the speed of delivery, also all of those collapsing. Is this a sign that the economy is contracting? Maybe. Is this a sign that the small business, medium business is contracting? Probably. There's a lot of stuff going on. That FedEx earning announcement, if you have not read it, I suggest reading it. It does not bode well for the U.S. economy. And then lastly, we'll talk about the one and only Michelle Bowman. Michelle Bowman, of course, is the Fed president that dissented, said, nah, I'm not going 50. I think 25 is the right answer. She has come out and said the reason for that is a slower pace of cutting would avoid giving the impression that we are done with inflation. She wants to avoid unnecessarily stoking demand. Well, Michelle, I think that is a very warranted concern. It is frankly one that I fear a lot. I hate that 1980-81 chart. I lived through it. I remember how nasty that second bout of inflation was. I believe your concerns are valid, but unfortunately, you are one voice out of 18, and it appears, according to Chris Waller, the committee sees a lot of room to move down over the next 6 to 12 months. My fear of a spike in inflation is still real, is still out there. But folks, no matter what we're doing, we are having fun. I love sharing with you the daily financial news. Come join me on School. If you're on School, you should see a calendar invite. 8 a.m. Simon, 10 a.m. Dan Bird, and tomorrow, 8 a.m. with Taylor. Not to mention the 3 accountability groups that we are so lucky to have. I just love all the good people that are in the community. It is fun to be the guy at the top, but it is all of you making it happen. Networking, answering questions, encouraging, sharing the good, bad, and the ugly. Keep it up. Together, we will become the #1 real estate investing school on School very, very soon. Take care. See you in a few. Bye.